Hi everyone, my name is Dina and I'll be talking about recycling. Some of us don't recycle and it's a huge problem. Too many of us are drifting away from nature and focusing on the worldly aspects of life. My main claim is failing to recycle is harmful to our planet. I'll be supporting my main claims with 3 secondary claims. Number 1, recycling is necessary to save energy. 2, recycling prevents toxic metals from contaminating our ecosystems. And 3, recycling conserves nature's resources. Going back to my first point that recycling is necessary to save energy, according to the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, the U.S. consumes about 1/4 of the world's energy resources. So consuming energy produces pollution in our environment. Milton Kazmaier, author and expert on alternative energy sources and the environment, states that recycling 1 aluminum can runs TV for 3 hours. According to the EPA, recycling 1 plastic bottle can power a computer for 25 minutes. Moving on to my second point, recycling prevents toxic metals from contaminating local ecosystems. Plenty of discarded batteries end up in landfills, and the toxic metals can seep into the groundwater that supplies our drinking water, and they can end up in our food, such as fish. So clearly toxins can harm plants, animals, and humans. Recycling household and car batteries keep heavy metals such as mercury, lithium, and cadmium from being released into our air and water. National Geographic states that dangerous levels of metals are taken up by some plants, eaten by people, and have a negative effect, especially on children. My final and third point is that recycling conserves nature's resources. The EPA estimates that producing recycled paper products requires only 60% of energy and about half of the water used from producing paper products from virgin wood. While we use 20 million tons of paper and paperboard each year, the Energy Administration information reports that recycling a ton of paper saves 17 trees. So not only does recycling conserve energy resources, but there would be a lot more trees producing oxygen if we recycle. In conclusion, we're doing our planet a huge disservice by failing to recycle because recycling is necessary to save energy. Recycling prevents toxic metals from contaminating our local ecosystem, and recycling conserves nature's resources. Thank you.
All right, Dina, well, you clearly state your claim, and there's a very solid setup of the structure. Organizationally, everything is fine with this speech. The weaknesses that you have in the presentation have to do with developing the controversy and the argument on these points. What you need to have maybe on each point is some explanation of the inadequacy of current recycling issues, of challenges that people make to recycling, of the inability of people or a failure to recycle in some way. I don't know that there's anybody who's going to say recycling doesn't produce a benefit, or that there's any controversy on that. The argument is, are we doing a sufficient job, or would recycling make a big enough difference that we would have something substantial left over? So, for example, those the very first data that you're giving us, a recycled can can run a TV for half an hour, 3 hours, and a recycled bottle can run your computer for 30 minutes. And I'm thinking, well, damn, based on my backyard, I've powered all of my life for television and my computer because I've recycled this many bottles and cans over the last 4 years, and I'm sure I've got all of my energy needs covered. I don't know that it translates automatically that way. And when we're looking at the bigger picture about how much energy we're using, if you could, for instance, show that we could reduce the amount of energy that we're using by a substantial percentage based on the numbers that you're talking about, I think that that would be a little bit more convincing that we've got something that we really need to put greater effort into. Same thing with the second point on the pollution, harms, and risks, that there is dangerous material in some of the materials that don't get recycled, batteries and that sort of thing. I don't think there's no dispute that there's dangerous materials there. The question is, how likely is it that they get released into the environment? And most of your arguments talk about the potential on those kinds of things. There's not any documented harm per se. It's not like we could look at, here's a case where a lake or a river was polluted and people got sick. It's just, we generally know these chemicals are bad for people, and we generally know that they get into the environment, but we don't really, we're missing that link there that shows that some harm has occurred. So it just feels a little bit underdeveloped on each of the points. That's the problem that I'm seeing, is that you've kind of scratched the surface of what the controversy or the argument would be here, but you haven't really developed enough of the controversy to make it something that I think would be a lot more powerful. But you hit all of the structural issues pretty well. You did a good job citing evidence on a pretty regular basis. I do think you need to give the source citations a little bit more consistently, but the information that you're presenting as it was good. Like I said, I just think that you need some more information. On the delivery, you did fine. I think you need to be a little bit more confident. I think you probably are anxious a little bit, and you resort to kind of a quiet voice, and you need to be a little bit more assertive as a speaker. This is your position. You think this is right. I think you need to be a little bit more forceful about it. You don't have to yell at us, although some of us probably need to be yelled at, but you need to have a little bit more confidence in the position that you're taking, and it sounds to me like you're just trying to get through it. And that doesn't build confidence in the audience if you sound that way. All right, thank you.